Why are you laughing at us?
Wait a minute. Oh, you ready for what? What are we talking about?
We ready.
Showtime, baby.
Oh. Okay. Tell me when you're ready, sir.
Let's get them looking at your pearly whites right now.
On the dot.
What's going on? What's going on? What's going on, everyone? Guess what? We missed you guys last week. We were not in the studio. You know, the Force MDs, they were all over the globe doing their thing, and so the studio was closed. But welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. We're so delighted to be here. And so we're going to jump right in what we have, because tonight is a packed night. You know, we're talking about dysfunctional family. Yes, we're talking about dysfunctional family. And if you feel as though your family is not dysfunctional, boy, do I have news for you. But before we get into that, you know, let me do this introduction real quick again. My wife and I, we are marital, premarital counselors. We are Amazon best-selling authors.
Authors.
Same
the
thing.
Jamaican just keeps coming out.
And to my right, I have none other than the solid rock, Debbie Petra Smith.
That's me.
And to her left, you know, of course, you know, this crazy Jamaican guy who can't get rid of this Jamaican accent, Edward James Smith III.
That's him.
And together we are Meet the Smiths. And so tonight we are delighted once more to join on this wonderful stage with none other than Clear.fm.
Yes, the clear choice.
The clear choice with my maestro, Ray Goodman and Brown at the control table,
yes.
man.
We missed him. We missed him last week. We had no music,
right.
But we worked it out.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we worked it out from the comfort of home. But
yeah.
Ray, welcome home.
Yeah.
Happy to have you.
I tell her, Ray, when I was home and, you know, we set up our little thing at home, once we finished, I didn't have to break down everything. I break right in my bed. I broke right in my bed.
So it was kind of nice to be home
it was
and,
cool,
you know, do the show just in our personal space.
Right,
and,
right.
It was nice just to talk to our folks. But it feels good to be in the studio.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. So what's up, everybody? I need for you to just say your names, tell us what state you're listening from, and not only that, but I need for you to share this tonight. Share it, because we're about to unpack some stuff. Share it, please.
Yes.
So, babe, what do we have lined up for tonight?
So, you know how we do. We have some emails that came in that we want to read. Okay. We have our Riddle Me This. I don't know if we're going to stump them. Last week was way too easy.
Yeah,
was last week easy?
Was it last week? Or I think last week. Yeah, I don't know.
No, last week wasn't easy because you came up with the riddle.
Yeah,
the week before was easy. So we'll see if you guys can get it this week. How many phone calls it takes to get it. So we have Riddle Me This. We have a story that we want to talk about. We have our emails, of course. We have our topic, Dysfunctional Family. We have a phenomenal couple. Our Joneses will be joining us later.
Oh, yeah.
And, of course, we have our anniversary, which we did not do last week. But I promised Alicia that we would pick 2 dates this week.
Oh, Lord.
So we're going to do that. And hopefully one of them is her date. Please, Lord.
Alicia, it ain't going to happen.
Let it be her date. So we have a lot going on. So you know what? Let's just go ahead and get right into it, right?
Yes.
So the story that I really want to talk about today is the school shootings. what can we do as parents? What can we do? How can we protect our children? You know, last week we had the mass shooting in Florida, and then just this morning, a 7th grade boy in Ohio shot himself in the bathroom right at the beginning of the school day. So, you know, thankfully no other lives were lost, but he's in the 7th grade. He's a baby. You know, where did he get the gun? Why did he shoot himself? They're still trying to figure out if it was a suicide, was it an accidental shooting? You know, and I feel bad for his parents and also the other students that were involved. Everyone had to be evacuated. The high school went on lockdown. It's just, I can't imagine.
And you know, the people that are in power, you know, and it doesn't matter to me whether or not you're a Democrat or Republican, you know, it's not about politics right now. It's about protecting our family. You know, we went to see a movie this weekend, in Black Panther. You know, one of the primary stuff is to protect Wakanda, right? And they're very loyal to protecting that place. You know, and I think that, you know, we should be able to learn something from that. You know, we need to be able to protect our family, protect what we have, you know, because guess what? We won't have a future if our future is dying.
Yeah. You know, I hear you. I know the lawmakers need to do something, but while we're waiting for them to do something, what can we do? Like, what can we do as parents? I know with JD, our 14-year-old at home, we are aware of where he is, what he's doing, but is there more that we can do as parents? Like, you know, I don't know the answer. I really don't know the answer, but it's something that's really weighing heavily on me. We're losing too many of our children. You know, you send your kids to school and you just don't expect that they're not coming home at the end of the day. Like, I can't imagine. I really cannot imagine. And so, you know, I really want us to keep in mind, what can we do? What can we do as a parent? Because we can't change what happened in Florida. You know, we don't live in Florida, but what can we do in our own homes today, starting when we get home with our own children? What can we do? How can we empower them? How can we reassure them? Because kids are afraid to go to school. They're afraid that it's going to happen in their school. What can we do? What can we say to our kids?
And the other thing also, babe, is that, you know, the thing that I can't stand with us, we always act after the fact.
Very reactive.
You know, and so, you know, if parents, you know when your children, or when something is not right with your children, you know, and it's okay. You know, don't ever think that, you know, nobody wants to say, you know, my child has a mental problem or anything to that effect. But darn it, if saying that is going to save someone else's life along with his or her life, then by all means do that. You know, and not only, you know, saying something, but take that child to somewhere to get checked out to make sure that, you know, all the cylinders are firing in the right order. Because here's what it is, you know, not only your child will suffer, but other children suffer, and you as a parent suffer. The entire community suffers. You know, so we have to be intentional in doing better than what we're now doing.
Yeah, definitely, you know, communicating with our children. I mean, no teenager should have guns in their room, under their bed, in a duffel bag, and you as a parent don't know about it. And I understand, you know, there was an interview with the parents, well, the caregivers of the young man from Florida. So they knew that he had a gun, you know, it was locked up. He would ask permission if he wanted to clean it. But something in this young man snapped. You know, something snapped. He said that he doesn't go to school on Valentine's Day. That was, somebody should have,
that's a red flag.
recognized that, okay, you know, something's not right here. Unfortunately, we see the signs afterwards. You know, in hindsight, everything looks like a red flag. But when you're in the midst of it, nothing looks like a red flag. It's a normal, moody teenager. You know, parents, I just want to encourage us, let us really develop these relationships with our children where they know that home is a safe place where they can talk about what's bothering them. And do not get me started on bullying, because I cannot stand a bully. I can't. I have no tolerance for them. And you know, so many children have committed suicide. They've snapped. They've come to school and hurt other people because they're being bullied. Are we teaching our children proper coping mechanisms so that they're not breaking under pressure? And then are we handling the bullies? If you know that your child is a bully, then you need to address it. And Absolutely. We as adults need to stop being bullies too, because some of us are bullies, and that's where our kids are getting it from. So that is the story that I wanted to really talk about tonight. And you know, just it has really had a profound impact on me. And when I send my son off on that school bus in the morning, I just cover him in prayer. You know, I cover him in prayer because that's all I know how to do. I feel helpless to do anything else. You know, I don't know how else to protect our kids. I'm thinking about homeschooling. I really am. And he's 14. I know he would not be happy with that, but
I'm not going to be home with y'all. I'll tell you right now.
That's okay.
Okay.
Deborah, Doreen, Renelli, Addie, Dania, April, Bishop, Patrice, Ben. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Oh, my cousin's watching live. Dusty, you're watching live. Thank you. She usually watches back on Wednesdays and shares, so it's nice to have you live with us tonight.
Yes.
But we appreciate you guys. Make sure you are sharing this video out so people can know that we are on live. We are going to take our top of the hour break, play a little tune for you real quick. I don't know what the DJ has lined up for us tonight, but you know it's going to be good.
I don't know if the DJ knows what he has lined up for us tonight.
He always knows. He always knows. So stay with us. We will be right back. Make sure you're sharing and liking, and just enjoy the music. We'll be right back.
I wanted to say so much. I was like, I want to be in the conversation too.
Hey. Can I go ahead and turn it up a little? Can I go ahead and turn it up a little? Can I go ahead and turn it up a little?
listening to Meet the Smiths on Clear.fm.
And you just heard Got to Be There on Clear.fm, the #1 station for today's hits and throwbacks. The
That's a clear choice, baby.
Yes, the
All
clear choice.
day long. All day long.
Awesome sauce. So,
Okay.
you know what time it is. It's riddle time. Riddle me this, riddle me this. Get your phones ready. The number to call in is 570-218-9699. And you know, tonight, let's not use Google immediately, people. Let us try to figure it out before we use Google. But before
I don't think Rob is on tonight, so
no, I don't think Robin or Vandry is on yet. They went to Philly, so we'll see if they come back. Yes, Addie, we were in here jamming, doing our little dances. Listen, we want to thank you because you said that your auntie is watching from California. Hi, Auntie. Thank you so much for tuning in. And Doreen, I saw you welcoming a whole bunch of people. Auntie Joy from California, thank you for tuning in. Cuz you're only here for a short time. You're going to choir rehearsal. Go ahead and sing for Jesus. But we know that you'll watch the replay, and we're looking forward to your feedback. So Paige is on. Doreen, you said, hey, Juice. Do you know that's my husband's nickname? Is there another Juice that's watching us live? Shout him out. Let me know who it is.
Juice to Juice.
Yes, so Juice, that's been your nickname for many, many years.
Yeah.
So, yeah, cool. Yes, Nakia, Deborah is telling you that you can make a comment whenever you want. Absolutely. We read them. We respond to them. Welcome, Renee. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. So it's time for Riddle. The number to call in is 570-218-9699. And I'm challenging you guys not to use Google initially. Let's try to figure this out. It's not difficult.
Let's go.
Here we go. What gets broken without being held? What gets broken without being held? Let's see who's going to be the first to call in and talk about the riddle.
And let me tell you right now, it's not your heart.
Oh my gosh.
Let the heart business alone. Let it go. It's not your heart.
Because that's what he guessed, and he was wrong. So,
babe, I know the answer to the riddle.
How do you know the answer to
Would you like for me to tell it, Barbara?
No, do not give it away. They're going to call in and they're going to guess. And while you guys are doing that, I will read an email.
570-218-9699. Again, 570-218-9699. Thanks.
Okay, so let's go to our emails. We got 3 really good emails. Well, one was just someone calling in to say, hey, we love listening to the show. So we thank you for that. And let me get to the other one. The other 2 emails that we got in. And you know we love hearing from you guys, so please, please, please continue to send the emails in. info@meetthesmiths.org. info@meetthesmiths.org. Babe, my email is not coming up. Can I use your phone? See if I can get it up. info@meetthesmiths.org. If you want to send us an email, make a comment, that is where you should send your email. Okay, here we go. Oh my Lord, this is, here, it's, I don't know, let me try. I'm going to keep trying to get it on here because your thing is taking me through a whole motion. Why wouldn't it be right here? I apologize, guys. You know how technology can be. Hopefully you're bearing with us. Don't leave.
What are you?
They never go to my Gmail. They're always.
What are you trying to get? Tell me, I'll get it for you.
Go to in your Gmail account, babe. Okay, so we might have to skip emails tonight because I can't pull it up. But that's okay. We will have to read extra emails next week. Okay, the phone is not ringing. Where are you guys with the riddle? What can be broken without being held? What can be broken without being held? So it's not it's not heart. It's not trust, Doreen, but that's a good guess. Okay, somebody's calling in. You're on with the Smiths. Hello, Carla. Hi, Doreen.
Hey,
Hi,
Doreen.
Doreen.
I love the way she said her name. Hi, it's Doreen. I love it. Hey, Doreen.
It's not trust.
It's not trust, my love.
Really? Okay. Oh, God. All right.
But that's a good guess. That's a good guess. Call us back when you think of the next one.
Okay. All righty.
Okay, so it wasn't trust, guys. Keep going. 570-218-9699. What gets broken without being held? And since we can't pull up our emails, we're going to go right into
Yes, ma'am.
the topic for the evening.
Yes, let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Dysfunctional family. How many of you would say that you're part of a dysfunctional family? Yeah, we raise our hands too because Dania Bad. Ding, 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 ding. She got the right answer.
Oh, she got it.
Yes, a promise. Congratulations, Dania Bad. Thank you for guessing, even though next time we want you to call in, okay, so we can hear your voice.
And Dania, I know you got it because you're Jamaican. Jamaicans are smart like that. I know that. I know she's dying right now.
Wait, someone else is calling in. Let's see. Hi, caller. You're on with the Smiths.
It's me again.
Hi, Doreen.
It's a promise.
It is a promise.
It is a promise, but someone just got it before you, Doreen.
It is a promise.
Yes.
Yep.
All right. Well, that's fair. Okay.
Thank you.
Later.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thanks.
Okay, bye.
Yes. You know she's laughing. She's woo-hooing and she's laughing. And she promises to call next time. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Dania. So tonight we want to talk about dysfunctional families. You know, what I love is that a couple weeks ago we talked about family secrets, right? And we got some emails with some issues surrounding family secrets, and people were following up on that topic. And what I love too is we went to this movie this weekend, and we were talking about family secrets because of something that happened in the movie, and we're not going to give it away for those of you who haven't seen it yet.
Right.
But there was a family secret, right?
Absolutely.
And because of that family secret, it led to some dysfunction within that family.
Right.
And so when we ask the question, how many of you feel that you are a part of a dysfunctional family, all of us should raise our hands.
Absolutely.
Because none of us are part of a perfect family. And your dysfunction may look different than ours, but we all have some sort of dysfunction in the family.
Yeah, because the dysfunctions are at different levels, you know, and the levels that I'm at in my dysfunctional family may not be where you are, you know, but that does not mean that your family is not dysfunctional.
Right. And so before we get into the definition of dysfunction and what that looks like, I want to first share the 8 needs that a family must provide or should provide for its members. So
for it to be functional.
Right. Families function to provide the following 8 needs for its members. Okay? Need number 1 is maintenance. This is the provision of food, clothing, shelter, and health care. And I don't know about you, but I have West Indian parents, and I remember growing up, all I need to provide for you is food, clothing, and shelter.
Yes.
You have that, you're good, right?
Yeah.
A lot of our parents said that. So that's the number 1 need. Number 2 need is nurturance. This is the granting of safety, security, warmth, and a sense of home. Unfortunately, there are a lot of people who don't have that. Home, that sense of home, that safety, that nurturance. Need number 3 is inclusion, a sense of belonging and being loved.
And a lot of families don't have that
A lot
either.
of families don't have that either.
Right.
Need number 4 is privacy, respect for each member's feelings and personal space.
But
I see the look on your face, so I'm gonna pause here and I'm gonna let you say what you have to say about privacy.
Listen, that word privacy is relative, because it is, it is under privacy that have caused so many children to go to school with guns. I have my son has a bazooka under his bed, but because that's his room and I'm respecting his privacy, I will never know that he has that. My child may have drugs in their room, etc. and stuff. So the word privacy, in my opinion, in my book, is relative. The entire house belonged to me and my wife, including the children's room. And so therefore, I feel as though I have a right to go into any of those rooms at any given time, and turn whatever I want to turn upside down to see what's going on, because no surprise is going to come out of my house, my home, our home, but at the same time, I need to respect that. I can't just come in like a mandingo man, like bust up inside my son's room and, see that Jamaican just came out, bust up.
Yeah.
Inside my son's room, let me see, and, start throwing stuff upside down. I need to respectfully let him know that, listen, it's time for me to do a room check.
Yeah.
And we're doing that. It's just like, for you, babe, so many times, and sometimes I feel it for you. You just walk up on our children and said, let me see your cell phone. It's time to do a cell phone check.
Random phone check.
And I could see the terror in our kids' eyes sometimes, like, oh snap, I didn't get a chance to believe.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and babe, I agree with you 110%. You know how we run our household. And yes, there's a certain expectation that your privacy will be respected. We're not coming in the door when you're taking a shower. My son, first of all, would probably die.
Yes.
He is so self-conscious right now about me seeing any part of him. And I'm like, boy, I made that, okay? I've seen it all.
Made all of that.
No, Mom, it's not the same. It doesn't look different. It doesn't look the same anymore. I'm like, excuse me? So, we joke about it, but yes, I respect his privacy. But like you said, there's a certain expectation that if I suspect anything, if I feel like there's something that's being hidden, it's my job, it's our job to go investigate and check out and see what's going on.
Absolutely.
And our daughters will certainly tell you, yes, those random phone checks will come at the least expected time. But you know what that did? They didn't always have a chance to delete certain conversations or certain things, but it gave an opportunity for me to see what was going on, what they were involved in.
The dynamics
there
of
were
the
so many
conversation.
teaching moments that came out of those random phone checks. And it also gave me the opportunity as a mom to pray for them a certain way, to know the areas they were struggling with. So I prayed for them differently. So privacy, yes, but there are some contingencies.
Right. It's relative.
It's relative.
Right.
It changes based on the age of your child,
Absolutely.
their level of maturity. So we wanted to definitely leave that there. So that was need number 4. Need number 5 is esteem, bestowing a sense of worth and personal value. Need number 6 is understanding, the agreed upon right of members to make mistakes and learn from them. And I think we can tie that in with some of what we just said about privacy, right? Yes, we did the random phone checks. Sometimes we found stuff that we were very disappointed in, but we allowed our children to make those mistakes,
Right.
you know, and to learn from them. So that's need number 6. Need number 7 is recreation, the opportunity to have fun together. So many families are not doing that anymore. And we actually, in tonight's show, towards the end, we're going to talk about something, an initiative that we want to establish for families, a way of having fun together. And then need number 8 is spirituality, the permission to develop a relationship with God to gain meaning and purpose in life. And this is another important one, because sometimes when we talk to Christian families, they think that when we say the permission to develop a relationship, they think we mean just handing down their relationship with God to their children.
Right.
And that's not what we're talking about. Every child is going to have to find God on their own.
In their own way.
In their own way.
Right.
And sometimes it's scary because they begin looking elsewhere outside of what we have taught them. But the Bible is clear that if you train them up in the right way, they're not going to depart.
Right.
They may explore some things here and there, but they'll come back. So those are the 8 needs. When these 8 needs are not met, it can lead to dysfunction.
Absolutely. I love it. I
When
love
the
it.
8 needs are not met, it can lead to dysfunction. The dictionary definition of dysfunctional families, is a dysfunctional family is one in which conflict, misbehavior, and often abuse on the part of individual members occur continuously and regularly, leading other members to accommodate such actions.
And those that are listening and are watching us on Facebook Live, I need for you to lean in and listen to this, because a lot of times when we think about dysfunctional family, we think about the parent, and or we think about the parents, brothers and sisters, and all that stuff. But oftentimes, the dysfunction of your family acts out in our children, and our children respond to the dysfunction of the family in different ways based on where they are. You know, let's say child, the firstborn will respond to it total different from the second born, the third born, etc. Now, as you listen to these, we're not saying that this is mandatory. Every child will behave this way. But what we are saying is that, you know, if you're a firstborn, you know, oftentimes these are your patterns. Versus if you're a second child, you know, your patterns will be a little bit different.
Absolutely. I just want to read a few of these comments before we go into the rest of this. Doreen said that security is important. She said that her mom didn't let them close doors for a certain period of time. And I've heard some parents have done that, you know. Your bedroom door had to stay open. So, and I think that, yes, at a certain age, that's a great rule. You know, you're 5. Why do you need a closed bedroom door? You know, and then as your children grow up and mature, that rule can be adjusted. Letha Singleton Davis agrees with these immediate family needs, and she's asking, what are the extended family needs? So Letha, we will cover that in another session, or later on this evening when I get home and I'm responding to these comments, I will give you some extended family needs. But tonight we're definitely focusing on immediate family needs, those that are in the household.
And unfortunately, you know, because tonight is so loaded, you know, some things we're probably gonna have to go through real quick, simply because 2 hours is just not enough to cover it, you know. So, but it is very imperative that you get what we're trying to portray here. So, you know, I need for you to really lean in and listen carefully.
Yeah, absolutely. So Addie says, you have no privacy in my house, But as parents, we have to be respectful of our children and in turn create trust so they don't hide things from us.
Absolutely.
And Renelli's trying to get us in trouble. She says, I really love that random phone checks. I'll tell the boys, Auntie Debbie and Uncle Eddie said I should because they're the experts. Thanks. But we can handle that when they come for us.
Okay, Renelli.
So a dysfunctional family is one in which the relationships between the parents and children are strained and unnatural. Okay? And this is usually because one of the family members has a problem that impacts every other member of the family.
Right.
So each of the family members feel trapped and they feel obligated to adapt atypical roles within the family to allow the family as a whole to survive.
Ain't that crazy? So here's it that you have one crazy person in the entire family, right? And so everybody knows that this person is crazy, but you don't want to.
We're not going to say crazy person.
Okay,
We're going to say a person in the family.
Oh, we're going to cushion the word?
No.
We can cushion the word.
No, we're not going to cushion it, but not crazy, but a person in the family has some type of issue, be it anger issue or behavior management issue. And they have this problem. Sometimes it's an addiction.
Right.
So it's not craziness, it's not psychosis.
No, it's not. But listen to me, folks. I'm a Jamaican. And so whenever I use the term crazy, it has nothing to do with mental, you know? It just means that you're probably loco-moco, you know?
Oh my gosh.
You know, something to that effect. It's just that you're a little bit different, you know? And so, you know, what we're talking about here in the home, everybody has that person. And so everyone in the home has to walk on eggshell so as to accommodate this person. And even though the person is wrong, but just to keep peace in the house, everybody is just accommodated.
And often, when the parent is the one with the issue, anger management, addiction, you will see the children assume certain roles within the family to make up for the deficiencies of parenting. And that's really what we're going to talk about tonight, okay? The roles that these children take on.
That's really good.
So here are some patterns found in dysfunctional families. The members don't talk about their problems. They don't express feelings openly or honestly. They don't have a solid moral base. They don't have fun together. They don't encourage and support one another. So those are some patterns that you might find in a dysfunctional family. So we're going to get into a few of the roles. And remember now, we're talking about roles that children take on to make up for the deficiency in the parenting.
Right.
So role number one is the responsible child. This is the family hero, and usually it's the firstborn child. This is the child that takes over the parent role at a very young age, becoming very responsible, very self-sufficient. They give the family self-worth because they look really good on the outside. They are the good students, the star athletes, the prom queens, the prom king, the A student, the honor roll student.
They always make the parent proud.
That's right.
Yeah.
The parents look good. The parents look to this child to prove that they're good parents and good people after all, because child A is doing fine. Look at her. She's excelling. She's an A student. She's on the honor roll. She's in extracurricular activities. We're not bad parents. If we were, she'd be messed up.
And sometimes this is what we do. Check this out, babe. Sometimes we will say to the rest of the children, why can't you be like child A? You understand me? She's straight A student. She is this. Or he is this. Why can't you be like her? You understand me? Not realizing that you're actually digging the knife further and deeper into the dysfunctional of the family.
Absolutely. And so this child who has had to take on this parental role at an early age grows up to be an adult that is often often rigid, controlling, extremely judgmental of others, and especially themselves.
Yes.
They achieve success on the outside, get lots of positive attention, but they're cut off from their inner emotional life. They were not allowed to be a child. They weren't allowed to display those emotions when they were younger. So now everything is bottled up. They don't share. They are compulsive and driven as adults because deep inside they feel inadequate and insecure.
That is some dangerous stuff, you know. And every time we do this, babe, you know, it reminds me of my childhood days, because even though there are 7 of us, I have an older brother, but that older brother grew up with our grandparents, you know. In Jamaica, it's not state, but if we were to equate it here, it would be like, you know, a couple other states over. I did not meet my older brother until I was a teenager, right? But so I had to take on the role as the older child, and you know, and because there were no dad in the home, then I took on the role also as a dad, and so I would always be the only one helping my mom wash, cook, clean. These are the reasons why I did it. I do it so well, you know.
Yes, you do.
So, you know, I would always helping my mom wash, cook, clean, you know, and while I was a child, I was being a parent, you know, and so I never got the chance to do what a child normally do, and so I felt as though I was sheltered, you know, I was a very bashful person, you know, and I'm still to some extent, you know, people may not believe that, but I am, you know, but you know, because I was never, the development stages that I had or should have gone through as a child, I never did,
Right.
you know, and so now, you know, studying these things, you know, I'm like, wow, now I understand better.
Yep. So that was role number 1, that firstborn, the hero. Role number 2 is the acting out child.
Yes.
This is the scapegoat. So often the second child.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's that middle child,
Yes.
that middle child syndrome. This is the child that the family sometimes feel ashamed of. He or she acts out the tension and anger that the family tries to
Cover up.
ignore. So while everybody else is pretending everything's okay, we're good, child A is excelling, she's doing well, everything's fine. Child B is like, we're not okay. We are not okay. And so that child begins to act out. This child provides distraction from the real issues in the family, though, because you're so busy addressing their behavior,
Right.
that you don't address what's really going on in the family, the underlying issues. The scapegoat usually has trouble in school because they get attention the only way they know how, which is often negative.
Negative. Very negative.
These children, though, are usually the most sensitive and caring, which is why they feel such tremendous hurt. They are romantics, but as they grow up, they become cynical and distrustful. They have some self-hatred and can become very destructive.
So you see, they fantasize a lot, a whole lot, you know, and the real world for them is the fantasy, you know, and they try to live out the fantasy, you know. These are children that will watch a movie and think that what they're seeing in the movie is real, and they try to portray that in reality of life, and so the two world clashes for them at times.
Absolutely. Role number 3. This is the mascot, the caretaker, often the youngest child. So this child takes responsibility for the emotional well-being of the family. They become the family's social director or family clown, diverting the family's attention from the pain and anger. This child becomes an adult who is valued for their kind heart, generosity, and ability to listen to others. Their whole self-definition is centered on others and they don't know how to get their own needs met. They become adults who cannot receive love. While you are dating, you might meet someone, they might be the youngest child, the baby of the family,
Yes, ma'am.
and they have commitment issues. Every time you get close to them, they push you away. This is why it's so important to understand where a person is coming from. What is their background? What is their family history? Because it will tell you a lot about who they are, why they respond the way they respond.
And this is the type of person that whenever, if they're in a relationship and you're talking to them about real life issues and serious things about the relationship, it becomes comical for them. Because they're hiding from the true issues that underlines relationship. And so they are responding to issues the best way known how to them, which is just to be comical.
And another thing about this caretaker, they often have caseloads rather than friendships or relationships. They want to fix you.
They want to fix you.
They want to fix you. Which sometimes leads to abusive relationships in an attempt to save the other person. Okay. Role number 4. This is the adjuster or the lost child. This is a child that escapes by attempting to be invisible. They daydream, fantasize, read a lot of books, or watch a lot of TV. They deal with reality by withdrawing from it. They deny that they have any feelings at all and don't bother getting upset. These children grow up to be adults who find themselves unable to feel, and they suffer from very low self-esteem. They are terrified of intimacy and often have relationship phobia. They are very withdrawn and shy and become socially isolated because that is the only way they know to be safe from being hurt.
So this person, again, is not that they will not have relationship with you. They will have relationship with you, but it's not a covenant, it's not a committed relationship, because they are afraid that if they get that deep into you, they're going to be hurt. And so their job, what they do is protect themselves. So they will have but it's just a surface relationship. And the moment the relationship seems to be getting deeper, they either run and hide, disappear, or they just break that relationship.
They self-sabotage a lot of relationships.
Absolutely.
So a special case is the only child. An only child may take on parts of all these roles, playing them simultaneously or alternately, experiencing overwhelming pain and confusion as a result. In a healthy family, members are not cast into rigid roles. Instead of pressing each member to embody a role to fulfill only one family function, each member is given the opportunity to experience each of the family roles. Because our families are dynamic. They're not static. They don't stay the same. And so as they move and shift and change, the members of that family need to be able to move and shift and change as well. So that middle child should be able to be the hero in the family sometimes too. That hero sometimes will do things that's embarrassing and shameful. But in a dysfunctional family, no one is expected to come outside of the box that they're in. This is your role, and you only operate in this role.
In that role. Can you imagine you being the only child and you have taken on all of these areas, and it never got resolved, and so now you have taken on a family of your own, and your husband or your spouse, for that matter, sits in the driveway in his car and is just afraid to come out, to get in the house, because he's saying, man, I'm not sure who's gonna show up. Who is going to show up?
Who's sitting at the table with you tonight?
Is Sasha Fierce sitting down?
don't know who it's gonna be.
We don't know who's gonna be. So like Lord, just cover me
Right.
that whomever is gonna sit at the table with me tonight, I could deal with it. And so dysfunctions in the family is real.
Yeah, it's real, and it
is
takes
real.
on so many different
Yeah.
faces.
Mhm.
And when you talk about addiction,
Mhm.
that's a whole nother level
Mhm.
of dysfunction.
Dysfunctions, of course.
And so we all have things in our families that cause us to be dysfunctional.
Mhm.
It's not so much being dysfunctional that's the issue. It's how you deal with the
Mhm,
dysfunction.
mhm.
Are you able to address it, look at it,
Mhm.
talk about it?
Mhm.
And dysfunctions will come up at different stages of life and
Mhm.
the family cycle. And, it's a natural part of life and family life, because you have a husband that's going through midlife crisis, a wife that may be going through menopause,
Mhm.
college students that's graduating and not sure what they're doing with the rest of their life. So everyone is at a different phase within their
Yeah,
own
that's-
growth and development.
Absolutely.
And here you are, a family unit, trying to function and hold it all together. It's expected that you feel like your world is falling apart. But what we want to encourage you is that you don't allow the dysfunction to crumble your family base, erode the
Yeah.
very essence of your family.
Yeah.
That you have to be able to communicate and talk to each other.
Yeah. It should not dictate the success or even the failure of your family.
Right.
It's your job to determine that. You have to see your dysfunction and realize that it is a dysfunction and want to do something about
Right.
it.
It's an opportunity to address the issue.
Absolutely.
And come together as a family and say, this is a problem. How can we make it better? And, when you talk about a blended family, that's a whole
Jesus.
nother level of dysfunction and issues. We know that that's a topic that we
Yeah.
have to tackle, and we will tackle it
Yeah.
Um,
Eventually.
sooner rather than later. We're going to do a whole series on the blended family, but we know that we just threw a lot of information out there. I see that the comments are coming in fast and furious, so we're going to play some music. We're going to take a
We're
break.
gonna take a little break.
We're going to read your comments. We're going to, give you some answers, and then we're going to talk about some dysfunctional families in the Bible.
Absolutely.
So stay with us. We'll be right back.
Make plans and get ready for This Means More Relationship Bootcamp 4.0 at the all-inclusive Rio Guanacaste Resort in beautiful Costa Rica, October 26th through the 31st, 2018. Presented by radio personality and relationship educators Edward and Debbie Smith of Meet the Smiths and Dr. Celeste C. Owens, author and speaker. Special guests include Karen Ward, certified personality trainer. David Burris, leadership relationship strategist. For more information, visit the website mikeonetravel.com or call 570-517-5204. For singles, engaged and married couples, this means war.
Hey.
What you know about this old school music?
Do you have relationship questions? Is your marriage stuck in a rut? That's okay. You can dial in to Meet the Smiths every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. on clear.fm. You can also listen by phone. Dial in 570-446-5167. Meet the Smiths every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. on clear.fm. You're listening to Meet the Smiths on clear.fm.
Hey guys, we're back, and you just listened to Whenever You Want Me, I'll Be There. Whenever you need me, I'll be around.
Okay. On the #1 station for today's hits and throwbacks.
The Clear Choice.
The Clear Choice.
The Clear Choice.
Clear.fm.
And real quick before we get into anything else, so our commercial I've been running for Costa Rica that's coming up in October of 2018. We just found out or realized that the contact number that is on that commercial is incorrect. So for Mike One Travel, the correct number is 570-417-5204. Again, that number is 570-417-5204. We do apologize.
Yeah, so, if you've been calling that 517 number and you're wondering why you can't get Mike One Travel, that's why. Our apologies.
Yeah.
Please call him if you're interested in joining us in Costa Rica in October. Let me tell you something. We have a phenomenal lineup for you, not just the speakers, because we hand pick our speakers.
Yeah.
We don't just have anybody coming to talk to our people.
As we would say in Jamaica, we ain't got no fenke. We have no fenke.
We come with the real stuff for you guys. And one of the things that we're going to do in Costa Rica is we're having a 70s night.
So I'm not gonna be bald.
No.
I'm not gonna be bald, right?
No. So if you are planning to join us, make sure you have your 70s gear ready.
Yep.
I mean, we want to see the bell bottoms. We want to see the platforms. We want to see the afros. And we're just going to have a really good time. We're going to play
we need some Soul Train.
Yes. We're going to play some 70s trivia.
Yes,
We're going to have a Soul Train line. It's going to be a lot of fun. So if you're thinking about it and you're on the fence, hopefully the 70s themed fellowship night will get you on the side of, I'm coming. So I really want to read some of these comments because they're great. First of all, we want to thank Ophelia for joining. Lexine,
Yes.
thank you so much for joining us. Smooth Shaz Monroe, thank you. Martin Perdomo, thank you for joining us.
What up, Martin?
And there is a young man, Julius Freeman. Thank you for joining us and for participating in the discussion. We love it. So I want to read some of these comments real quick. Lexine Odom, she says, I always knew I grew up in a dysfunctional family, but you have given me revelation. Thank you. Wow, Lexine, thank you so much for that information. Doreen, I think you were responding to Ophelia. Ophelia said, most African American families think therapy is a waste of time.
Yes.
Boy, are they so wrong. The joy in being able to release things, yes, that have been bottled up for so long to a person who is bound by law. Not to repeat a word you said to them is so freeing.
Jesus.
It's exhilarating.
Have mercy.
Ophelia, we could not agree with you more. And so we're a blended family, right? We're a blended family. And I always say to my girls, listen, as you get older and as you become adults, there may come a time when you feel the need to go talk to somebody about things that you couldn't express growing up in the home. Please do so. Go talk to somebody. Lay on that couch and spill your guts. It is so freeing to be able to do that. And so we have to get away from this stigma that talking to somebody somehow makes us weak. It doesn't make you weak. Not at all. So I love that. Thank you, Ophelia. Let's see. There was another comment that I really wanted to. So Doreen says, I really appreciate these sessions and I am grateful to you guys for this free knowledge.
Who said that?
Doreen.
Doreen?
Doreen.
We gonna charge you. How about that?
Look, we gonna have a PayPal button. Pay the Smiths. And you know what? Doreen said something else that I find really interesting. She said, I didn't know what I wanted, but I knew what I didn't want my family to go through.
Come on.
Wow, that's profound.
That's
So, and I'll just give a quick story here, and then I know that we need to move on. At my job, I teach a class, first year experience, and I go in and I speak to the freshmen about, picking a major and understanding what they're good at, what are they passionate about, and we do this activity called Who Wants This Job, right? And everybody in the class stands up and I read a job description and I say to them, if you hear something in the job description that you don't want to do, you get to sit down.
Right.
And whoever is standing at the end gets to guess what they think the job is. So, they'll sit down when I say different things like, oh, you have to go to school for 8 years for this job. Half the class will sit down because they're not doing that. Or, in order to become this thing, you have to major in science and math. They sit down. They don't like those things. But at the end, they get to guess what they think the job is. And I say to them, the point of this activity is, yes, it's important to know what you want, but it's just as important to know what you don't want. Because if you hear something in a job description you don't like, don't apply to that job.
Right.
You don't know whether you're going to do it 2% of the time or 92% of the time. So I really appreciate that comment by Doreen. She wasn't sure what she wanted, but she knew what she did not want her family to look like or go through. So that's a great, a profound insight. Smooth Shaz says, yes, prayer, mental health professionals, group therapy, absolutely. So yes, we appreciate your comments. Julius made a comment that I wanted to read because it was really good and I can't, here it is. Julius says, while growing up, I was the third oldest of 4 and the only boy. It really wasn't bad for us because I had a mother who taught us right from wrong from infancy, and she married a man who was equally responsible. Between the ages of 13 to 9, we were trusted to take the train back to our old neighborhood to a better school. We were trusted with the house keys and to do what we were supposed to do. This included my eldest sister who was born mentally handicapped. Of course, we were expected to look out for her, and I imagine that made us a bit more responsible for our ages. Plus, we didn't want to let our mother down. She played no favorites. Listen, that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah.
Favoritism,
Yeah.
sibling rivalry. I promise you guys, we're going to cover so many. We don't want to do the surface,
No.
everyday relationship topics
no,
that
no,
everyone
no,
else
no,
is
no,
doing. We
no.
want to get to the bottom,
meat of
the
issue,
meat,
the meat
the
of
issues,
issues,
the
yeah.
root
Yeah.
of some of our issues today that
Yeah.
come from way back.
Yeah. Things that give you flashback
Yeah.
when you talk about it.
Right. Oh, Doreen is laughing at PayPal. We ain't playing, Doreen. We ain't playing.
As a matter of fact, I'm about to send you an invoice the moment the show is finished. About that. And Vanjie.
We go and Rob, all
And
y'all,
Rob.
all y'all. We just gonna start shooting out invoices. But no, we appreciate it, and we know
Yeah.
that the ability to just share some of what you've been through and experienced, that in and of itself is therapeutic. So,
Absolutely.
we appreciate you guys for sharing those issues and those things that you've experienced growing up.
And before we get into the other segment, I just want you to know that not because you are identifying yourself with some dysfunctions in your family, that does not mean that you are less than.
Right.
Your family is abnormal, and all that stuff. Because I can guarantee you, every family has some level of dysfunction
Absolutely.
in it, but last week I talked about resolving stuff, and some things is not resolvable, but everything is
managed.
is manageable. It's how you manage your dysfunctions determine the progression of your relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. And and when we talk about relationship strong, we're not just talking about husband, wife.
No.
We want the whole family to be relationship strong. We want siblings to be strong. We want the parent and child relationship to be strong. And so we're gonna talk about some issues, and some of it will be painful. It's not always gonna feel good.
No.
We gotta peel back some layers, but hopefully, by the time we get through some of these sessions, we can begin to heal.
Yes.
We can begin to heal.
Yeah.
So, dysfunctional families in the Bible. We are a Christian couple. We are a Christian family, and so everything that we do, we have to take you guys back to the source, where we get our source from and our guidance, which is the Bible. And the Bible is filled with dysfunctional families. Filled. Filled with dysfunctional families. Beginning, we have here that we're going to start in Genesis with Abraham, but we can go back to Adam and Eve. They were the first family, and they were dysfunctional. Because what happened? The minute there was deception, Adam said,
the woman you gave me
the blame game.
God, I did not ask for her. You came to me and said, I'm going to hook you up, Adam, and I gave you a woman. So therefore, now she done messed up. I'm going to say, the woman you gave me. Wow. Dysfunctional.
And then what did the woman say? The serpent.
The serpent.
Right? So we started the blame game from back then.
Yeah.
And don't
Still
forget.
happens today.
Cain and Abel. Dysfunction. 2 brothers. One killed the other. You don't get any more dysfunctional than that. And then certainly Abraham's family was dysfunctional. Abraham had more, I can't say this word on Facebook Live or on the radio, but he had more than he could handle.
Oh, yeah.
Because wife number 1 gave up her handmaid.
Yeah.
Wife number 2 gave up her. He just had handmaids all over the place.
He was just living la vida loca.
And he didn't turn down not one.
Wife said, okay, Abraham, guess what? I'm going to hook you up Okay.
If you insist.
If you insist, then I'm just gonna do it.
Right.
You know, I'm not enjoying it, but I'm just doing it for your sake. Lord have mercy.
You know, and then there was this whole situation where the handmaid now had to be sent away. Right?
Ishmael.
Ishmael. And so we see dysfunction throughout the Bible. What about Isaac's family? What about Jacob's family? I mean, Isaac worked for Rebecca for how many years? Ended up with her sister.
7 years, yeah.
Worked for Rebecca some more.
Yeah, 7
then
more
got
years.
Rebecca.
Right.
And now, poor cockeyed sister.
Right.
You know, feeling unloved, envious
Right.
of her sister.
Right.
I mean, talk about dysfunction.
And in competition to see who can give him the more son, you know.
He
or
was
the
another
best
one.
son.
He had even more than Abraham being thrown at him.
I'm telling you, man.
And then you see this pattern of favoritism with the children. This pattern of favoritism, and then it's passed down from one generation to the next generation to the next generation. Then we have Eli's family. You know, Eli was a priest and he had these sons who were out of control. He didn't discipline them.
Right.
Some of us have that issue. We do not discipline our children. They are out of control.
Yeah.
No one can talk to them.
Let them be children.
Right. No one can talk to them because we get upset.
Right.
But we don't discipline them either. You know, I think it was the end of last week or it might have been early this week. I saw this video on Facebook with this little boy where he kicked a grandmother.
And the grandmother shoved him.
Shoved him.
And
she threw him.
Yeah, and he fell and started crying, and his mother came and but she never said anything all this time when this young man was disrespecting this older lady, and more than anything else, he ended up kicking her. The mother for that child never said a word.
Never. There was no stepping in to reprimand. Listen, if that was my kid, you flung him, and I'm going to fling him some more. That's how I feel about it. Where is the parenting? You know, we have lost control of our kids.
You see, these are occasions where I would have to say to God, God, can I step out of being your child for a minute? I just want to be Edward right now and just do what Edward.
No, I don't think you have to step out because God disciplines us.
Yeah.
You know, He corrects us, and so it's our job to correct our children. Like, I don't get it. You know, there was another video of a teenager. He's in the classroom, and he body slams his teacher. And I'm looking at this young man, and my blood is boiling because I'm like, Lord Jesus, if this was only JD, I would hurt him. There's a level of disrespect that we are allowing our children and our young people to get away with, and it's getting to the point where they don't respect us at home. It carries out into the classroom, into the community. They don't respect anybody. Yeah,
and you see, and as we know, babe, that these things are a contributing factor of a lot of things. One of them is the child abuse stuff, and then if you lay your hands on your own child, they call whomever child, diapers, whomever, and they are, I remember, Gracie, my cousin in Jersey, Gracie mom, one day she was beating her son, and this boy ran out the house in the snow, bare feet, straight to the police station because the police station was right around the corner, to make complaint on her. She chased him at the police station and she pulled him up in the police station and she whooped his butt some more.
Listen.
And she looked at the officer and said, "You may lock me up now." So the officer have to look at her son and say, "Listen, if your mother won't do it, we will do it.
Yeah.
You understand me? Who do you prefer to do it? Us or her? You understand me? I said, you got to learn to respect your mother. You know, and he never did that again.
Yeah, I remember we used to watch, and I can't stand this show, but it was one of your favorite foolishness on TV that you loved. Cops.
Oh.
Bait car.
Why gotta be
It was bait
foolishness?
car because I thought it was all a setup. You know, they
Oh,
went
bait
into,
cars,
they went
yeah.
into our neighborhoods and they gonna put the souped up ride and leave it there with the keys in it and not expect people.
People to right.
It was a setup, you know,
That's a
and I
setup,
hated
yeah.
it. I really did. But I remember that one episode where the boy got in the car and he, you know, of course, then they turn off the car and he was driving though towards his house. So the car stops close to home and now
Right.
here comes the cops. His mama came out that house and
Right.
she whooped that behind on TV in front of the cops. She whooped the crap out of him.
Yeah.
You know, and we need to bring back parents who are not afraid to discipline their kids, are not afraid to admit when their child is wrong and will correct them. I think we want to hide our children's flaws so much that we don't even admit when they've done something wrong. We don't correct them.
But check this out. According to expertise, they said whooping your children teaches them violence, you know, and teaches them how to be violent, etc., all that stuff. But nowadays we don't hit them, we don't beat them anymore. And kids nowadays are one of the most violent generation you could ever imagine.
Shoot, my parents whooped me.
Listen to me. I know on Facebook today you talk about wanting to have a child and all that stuff. You know, if we were to have another child, I'm gonna drop it like it's hot on that child. You understand me? And I'm saying that publicly right now. You know, so you could have whatever the cops on speed dial because I'm gonna drop it like it's hot on these children.
I remember, so my dad always wanted a son, but it turned out that he never had a son. And, you know, growing up in the West Indies, you know, raising kids is just different. And when we came to America, he said to my mom, now I know why God did not give me a son, because I would kill that boy up here, you know? And so, you know, we just need parents that are going to show up. Just show up. So there is hope, right? Even if you're a part of a dysfunctional family, there is hope for you. God can reach us even in our dysfunction. He can reach us.
Yes.
He can help us.
Yes.
And here are some of the attributes of God. And these are some parental attributes that we as parents need to be bestowing and displaying with our own children. He cherishes us.
Yes.
We need to cherish our children. He keeps his promises to us.
Right.
We need to keep our promises to our children. He exhibits unfailing love. We need to do the same with our children. He delights in us. How many of us delight in our children?
Right.
You know?
Right.
He shares their innermost beings. He imparts confidence.
Confidence.
He defends.
Yeah.
How many of us defends our children? You know, back in the day, no one dared call your name in the community and say, you did this or you did that, because that community member was going to whoop you.
Oh, yes.
And your parents were going to whoop you again.
Yep.
Sometimes without even asking you what happened.
What happened.
Whose fault it was.
Right.
You're just going to get it.
Your
Now,
name was called, it's on
You're
and
getting
popping.
it. Now, I am not a proponent of that. I
Right.
think that we need to give our children a chance to explain what happened. We need to be advocates for our children. But when they're wrong, we need to say that they're wrong. You know, you have these parents who come to the school if teachers call, and the parents ready to fight the teacher because their child did something wrong. So we're not saying to be that type of parent, but defend them when they need defending. Advocate for them when they need advocacy, but chastise and correct them when they need it as well. Another attribute is that God is slow to anger. So we need to be slow to anger when we're dealing with our children.
But wait a minute, but 99.9% of the time when we're dealing with our children, especially when we're whooping that butt, we're angry. And we're whooping that butt in anger. In anger. You know? We're laying it on thick.
And you know, my kids will tell you that, and my husband too, he says it's evil of me to do this, but
Yeah,
I
evil.
really try not to spank. And you know, my kids are grown now, so I don't spank anymore. But I really try
We
not
can't
to
say that
spank.
about JD yet, you know, because
He's 14. He has not gotten a spanking in so long.
just this week we told him that, boy, you know, we're about to whoop that butt.
But, you know, they'll say, Mom, you know, we'll do something and you'll be angry, but we'll drive home and we'll be in the car, we're laughing, we're joking, and that kid is thinking they got away with it. Oh, Mom is in a good mood, it's over. And we'll get home, we'll have dinner, and then after dinner, see me in the room. I'm calm,
That's
I'm
evil.
collected.
That's
He says
mad
it's evil,
evil.
but I would rather do that when I'm calm than when I'm angry. Because you can hurt a child when you're whooping them when you're angry. But if you're disciplined and in love, and you know they understand that it's for a reason, it's because you broke a rule or you whatever.
This is the reason why whenever we're sleeping in the bed, I have one eye open. Because you're... yeah, I don't trust you.
Whatever. Whatever. Dysfunction can happen in our homes, but in every situation, we serve a God that is able to mend,
Yes.
to heal, and to restore. We simply need to give it over to them. And as we get ready to wrap up this section and take a quick break and welcome our Joneses, I just want to leave you with three simple things to put into practice. Number one, as adults, we have to take an honest look at ourselves
Absolutely.
and our past. Were we damaged in our childhood? Are there things our parents did that hurt us? Are we still holding on to it? Are there things other family members did or said to us that we're still holding on to? Admit it. Accept the way that you feel. Forgive the ones that hurt us. Seek professional help if you need to. Pray and ask God to heal your brokenness and make a commitment to break the cycle. Because it really starts with a decision
Absolutely.
that I'm not going to continue this cycle. And then you do the research. You surround yourself with positive people. You read the books. You join groups and support groups so that you don't make the same mistakes that our parents did, that, you know, previous generations did.
And it's important, you know, don't get caught up in oh, it's a generational curse. And be intentional in breaking that cycle, like as you have stated. You know, I met my dad when I was, well, my dad left my home when I was 9 days old, according to my mom. And I never met my dad until I was 24 years of age. And that's a mighty long time. And so I ended up, you know, coming to United States of America in 1988 to live with him. And when I lived with the man, you know, never met him before, but I lived with the man, and I realized that I had a lot of his traits that made me so angry. And I'm like, why am I having this man trait? Because I've never met him in my life, but it's the genes, you know, and I became intentional in changing that because I did not like what I saw when I was looking in the mirror.
Yeah.
And so you can break that cycle.
Yes, absolutely. So that was number one. Number two is worship as a family. And we're not just talking attending church on the weekends. We're talking waking up in the morning and having family devotion together. Praying together as a family in the evening before you go to sleep. Just that simple thing can establish a bond in your family that changes generations to come.
Yes.
And thirdly, play together. The family that plays together stays together. Have a family fun night. Plan a family getaway for the weekend. Share meals together. Cook together. Have fun together. Laugh together. Enjoy each other's company. Our children do not stay young for long. They grow up in the blink of an eye. So enjoy them. Enjoy your family. Make memories that last. There's so much more that we can say about dysfunctional families, and you know how we do. When I get home this evening, I'm going to respond to every one of your comments, I promise.
I will be sleeping.
As always. But we are going to, there's a question here. How do you refresh and renew a marriage of 35 years? Marvin, I promise you, we're going to respond to that question. But we're going to take a quick break right now because our Joneses are in the house. We want to introduce you to them. We want to spend a few moments with them. But if we need to do a part 2 of Dysfunctional Families, we'll do it. Maybe we'll just have that be a more interactive Q&A.
Listen, Dysfunctional Family is so wide and deep, you know, and our show is only 2 hours, and there's no way we can cover everything in 2 hours. We just put this together today, and you know, with the hope that we were able to cover, you know, surface cover, you know, the different areas or different dynamics. And as a matter of fact, you know, if you notice, we zeroed in on the dysfunctional of the family and how it plays out in the children. There are other areas of dysfunctional family that, you know, we haven't even touched.
So listen, stay with us. Keep the comments coming. We're going to play a song, and we'll be right back with Keeping Up with the Joneses.
Oh, I just said Marvin Greg is our dad.
Come on in, friends.
Do me a favor. The camera, the tall camera with that. No, the one in the middle. Turn it facing the
Hi, Erwin. Thank you for
What? Oh, yeah.
So you guys are actually going to be sitting at the table behind the green and the orange mics.
All right.
I can think of younger days.
How you doing?
Good.
What do you want us? You can put on your headset as well.
Still feel the breeze that rolls through the trees and misty memories of days gone by. we could never see tomorrow. Would you believe that no one ever told us about
Been good?
How can you stop the rain from falling? How can you stop the sun from shining? What makes the world go round? And sometimes I say, You're listening to Meet the Smiths on Clear.fm.
How can you mend the broken heart? How can you stop the rain from... Man, that's the Mr. Al Green.
Yes.
All day long, man.
Silky smooth voice.
Still listening
for sure.
to today's hits and throwback.
On Clear.fm.
The Clear Choice. Love it.
Yes, so you know, we're at my favorite part of the show. And I say that every week because Keeping Up with the Joneses is my
Yes.
favorite part of the show. And for those of you who are watching us for the first time, typically when you hear Keeping Up with the Joneses, you think competition. You know,
Right.
you want to do what that other couple is doing. But
Right.
for us, it's not about competition. We want to celebrate and appreciate local couples who are building businesses, running ministries, and just loving each other.
Right.
And so we are so excited to have a sweet couple in studio with us tonight. And I say that they're sweet because of the business that
Yes,
they
that
have.
they're in,
They're going to
yeah.
get to share that with us. But Erwin and Lisa, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you for having
We're
us.
so happy to have you guys.
Happy to be here.
Yes. So, Erwin, this is my first time meeting you.
Okay.
I've met Lisa quite a few times. We go to a Women in Business luncheon that the Chamber of Commerce does, and she always comes with sweets, ladies.
Oh, yeah.
And when we started advertising for this segment of the show, I put out a Facebook post and I said, hey, who are the couples in the Poconos that are impacting our community? And your names came up. So I wanted to, we wanted to reach out to you guys and invite you onto the show. And we're so happy that you accepted the invitation.
Thank you. Thank you. We're happy to do it.
Yes. So one of the first things we like to ask our couples is we want you to take us back to when you met,
the day you first met,
how you met, and who saw who, and who pursued who.
It goes back a long time.
That's okay.
I'll start. I was about 9 years old. I moved from the house I was living in. I moved up the hill about 4 blocks into a different house, and shortly after, I saw this little blonde-headed girl riding in her 2-wheelie bicycle up and down my block.
Your block.
And I was looking, through the window, and I was like, "Whoa, who's that girl?" Yeah, and
Your father said, Junior.
my father said, "Junior, that's a nice looking girl out there." And I said, I just want to play football. It's amazing.
During, then we didn't really kind of like hang out. We had different groups of friends, but then we both ended up working about a block from each other in Manhattan. So we ended up riding the bus back and forth, and then that's when we...
and how old were you about that time?
That was about 19.
Okay.
After the high school sweetheart things and all that stuff. And and then that's it. And then we've been together, so we celebrated 35 years this year.
Wow.
Awesome.
35 years of marriage.
35 years of marriage. 40 years.
Congratulations. Wow.
35 years.
Yeah, it goes fast. Like when you think back now, it's like, whoa, that's a long time.
Yeah,
that's a long
And so,
time.
who made the first move? You guys are riding the bus.
Wait a minute. He saw her first from the window, and he said, "Wow." So.
Yeah, I guess I made the first move.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely, brother.
I wasn't gonna wait too long.
Right. Didn't want to let her get away.
Right.
So a funny thing that happened was I grew up with 3 brothers, and the jibber jabber was always like, oh, the girls are gonna push you to get married, the whole works. So we were dating probably about 5 or 6 months, and he says to me, if we want to get married, you better start saving your money. And I almost fell out of the car. It was so not what I was expecting.
So, and that's an important point because 5 or 6 months of dating, and he knew.
Yeah.
And
you knew that she was the one.
Yeah.
Right.
And you
It
have.
was I baked them cookies. That was it. It was lovely after that.
That's right. That stomach,
Yeah.
But there's some men who claim they don't know after 3-4 years of dating. They're still, they're still not sure that this is the person that they want to get married to. So
we both had very traditional families. We had pretty much the same kind of upbringing, the same church, all that kind of stuff. So when you grow up in a small town, even though we were outside New York City, we're only 13 miles out of Manhattan, we were very country-like. So everybody knew each other. And so we didn't have to overcome issues other than just personalities.
Okay, got it. And so 35 years of marriage, what would you say has been one of your biggest challenges?
Running a business together.
He came from working in Manhattan, and he had a separate job commuting, and then he retired from there to come work with me. So now I'm not the wife, now I'm the boss. So
Well, you have to mention the fact, I worked in a big building, a couple flights below ground, with all men. And now there's 12 or 13 women.
Right.
So
Different dynamics.
it was a big change for me.
Yeah. So tell our listeners and our viewers about your business.
Well, we're the owners of Kitchen Chemistry and Pocono Soap. So we do custom cakes and cookies and all kinds of fun things. And we're an interactive bake shop and soap shop because we also teach classes. We're willing to help. I'm always willing to share my recipes. I'm not worried about, people, stealing my secrets, because they can't replace me, my
Absolutely.
addedness to that.
Right.
So we're interactive. I have no problem answering questions about baking issues and things like that.
Nice. So, Erwin, you came from working in a building with men, and now here you are working this business with 13 women.
And one of them happens to be your
One
wife.
of them happens
And
to be
also,
your wife.
he never even boiled water before he came. So he has to really be told everything, and he doesn't like that too much sometimes.
Well, it's an adjustment period,
Okay.
without a doubt.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
My job was very intense,
Mm-hmm.
so there are days when I come in and I'm intense.
Yeah.
Right.
And they all look at me like I'm crazy, But that's just how I am,
Yeah.
I'm full, when I'm working, I'm full speed ahead.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. And so working together all day and then going home together, it's not easy to balance that. What boundaries or parameters do you guys set in place so that you leave work at work when you go home? Or do you take work home with
No,
you?
we try not to. We really try not to argue once we walk at home, because it's so intense being business owners as it is, and then to come home and be criticized or hear criticism is not fun.
Yeah.
So, and we kind of fell into a little niche. Like, he leaves a little bit earlier than me in the morning, so I have a few hours by myself in the house. Because when he was a commuter, he was gone for literally, 16 hours a day,
Right.
14, and I had a lot of time to myself.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden now he's with me 24 hours.
Yeah.
So, and I also with him 24 hours a day. So we took a while. Took probably about a year and a half, 2 years
Yeah.
before we found this little.
We have our own schedule
Yeah.
now.
You're synced. You're,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Synchronization.
Do you guys have children?
Yes, 33 down to 20.
Oh, wow.
So,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Everyone is all grown, huh?
Well, yeah, one's married. The middle one's married. She's got, we have 2 grandbabies by her, and she helps us out in the soap shop.
Okay.
So we're all we really are a mom and pop business, because my youngest one works with us, my middle one works with us, my oldest son's out in California, but he helped do the first original planning and all that stuff.
Okay.
Nice. So I know that the history of the shop, there was a point where there was a fire,
Yes,
right? You lost the entire
Whole shop.
business.
it was completely gutted, yeah.
Yeah. How challenging was that, and how did you help each other get through that difficult time?
I think it was kind of like a week of complete numbness, like you really didn't even know what hit you. You kind of just went through it. And, the support of the community, people telling you, we need you back, you have to come back. Because it could be easy to just throw in the towel and take the check and run, but I wasn't ready yet to let go of my lifetime dream. And he was willing to help me too. So we plugged away. And in the meantime, that's how Pocono Soap was born. Because while the bakery was being rebuilt, we kind of just did that. I scratch my head saying how did that happen, but it did, and it's wonderful because now my daughter manages that store, so it keeps us all close and involved.
Nice.
And we maintained all the orders,
Yes.
all the cake orders that we had.
Good.
We managed.
Somehow we did it.
Nobody got disappointed.
Wow.
All the wedding cakes, all the orders, everything.
Thankfully, even the community helped us. My home got licensed and insured real quickly, so I was able to fill the orders. Just the immediate, the day of the fire, those cakes unfortunately got ruined. And I had to kind of do a little spy work. I had to get on Facebook because all the order forms got burned because they were hanging in the kitchen.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh my God, whose cakes are these now? I have no numbers
Right.
to
Oh,
call.
wow.
Right.
But it spread pretty quickly, and thankfully the people contacted us
Called.
and let us know that they got the message. You
Yeah.
know? But the day before the fire, we literally had 5 wedding cakes.
Wow.
That if it would have been one day earlier, oh my
Wow.
God, that would have been horrible.
Oh.
These were graduation cakes and birthday cakes the next day.
Yeah.
But it was a close call.
Wow.
It really was.
Sometimes we talk about marriage and we talk about, being together for X amount of years, and it's really not until those challenging times come that you really find out what you're made of.
Oh, yeah.
You really find out whether you have that staying power or not. Besides the fire and the challenge of having to rebuild, has your marriage had any other particularly challenging times that you were kind of like, oh?
I think just like standard marriage problems, but I think what it is that you have to have a core connection.
Come on.
You know, you have to have the same value system.
Love it.
You know what I mean? And I think if you have that going for you, then everything else is gonna, you know, yes, money problems, marital problems, complete opposite. Our personalities all like, you know, salt and pepper. But we have the same value system, and I think that really, and that's what passes on to the kids too. And you know, we have the same, like you were talking about before, the same discipline issues. We know we were on the same page with that. And
wow.
And that is so powerful, you know, in my opinion, and that's a crucial part or component of a relationship is to have that value system, the same value system. And unfortunately, you know, when we counsel couples, we realize that a lot of couples don't have the same value system.
Right. Yeah.
You know.
or they're not necessarily honest with each other.
Right.
It has to be black and white that you are on the same. You can't just say you have the same values.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
like I say since day one, actions speak louder than words.
Right,
Whatever
right.
you say is one thing, but how
Right.
you act is
Do.
really what
Yeah.
that means.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
And you know, the point that you just made, that complete honesty, you know, sometimes people will come to us for counseling and we know that they're not being truthful about what the real issue is. And one thing that my husband always says is, when you go to the doctor, you can't tell the doctor that your shoulder is hurting and expect him to treat your knee.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, the doctor is not a mind reader,
Right.
and as counselors, we're not mind readers either. So you need to be able to be honest about what's hurting you,
Right.
what's upsetting you. Otherwise, how can we fix it? We're
Right.
giving you a Band-Aid for your shoulder, but your pain is really in the knee.
Right.
So you're not getting the issues addressed. So how important is just that brutal honesty with your spouse?
It's just vital. It's just vital. I can't imagine being in a relationship that is based on lies. You know what I mean? Like we all do little white fibs or whatever. You know, hiding a cigarette or spending a little bit too much in the craft store. But in reality, sometimes couples, I think, don't even realize that they're not being truthful because of however their upbringing was.
Right.
They accept a certain lie as truth.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you really have to sit down and say, you know, on a piece of paper or whatever, is this really how it is? You know what I mean?
Yeah, wow.
We're traditional people, and when we made the vows, that's it. For life.
Yeah,
No ifs, ands, or buts.
no
This is
ifs,
true.
ands, or
That's it.
buts.
It's true.
And she knew, and you know, I knew that if we had an argument, we're still there next morning. So that's it. You work it out, and that's it.
Yeah,
You
wow.
go on. You move on.
Well, you knew from the very first day at 9 years of age when you saw that little blonde-haired girl riding her
Riding her
bike.
bike.
I was like,
And she
yeah.
was barefoot too.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true.
You had no shoes on. Huh?
I hate you.
Yeah, true.
So, you know, for our listeners, we have, you know, people in different stages of life, different phases of relationships. We actually had a question from someone right before you guys came, and he wanted to know, how do you keep a 35-year marriage together that's dying? What advice would you give to someone, who maybe a friend, a couple who comes to you and they're like, listen, you know what, we've been in this thing for 35 years, we've been struggling to hold it together, we're calling it quits. What advice would you give to someone?
I think you have to go back to what attracted you to that person way back when, and look at the positive again. Look at what great traits does that person have. If they have 1 or 2 really bad traits and 40 good traits, well, then maybe you have to overlook those little 2 traits because nobody's perfect.
Right. Right.
You know, I mean, there are certain things sometimes marriages don't work if they're really bad things that are happening. But if they're just trivial things that he annoys you, or you know what I mean, well, you know, that's everybody.
Yeah.
Or he snores too loud.
Yeah, well, we know about that. Thank God for that, CPAP machine.
It's a work in progress.
Yes.
Marriage.
It
It
is.
really is. Just like a business.
Yeah.
You always
It's
have to
true.
work on it every day, and it is the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Work in progress. I
And,
love
right.
you know,
that.
and you know, with the work in progress, we need to understand and see each other as you know, as team member.
Right.
You know,
As
your
peers.
spouse is not the enemy.
Right.
You know,
Right.
the enemy is outside there.
Absolutely.
You know, so
Right.
some things may come into the relationship and interfere with the process or the progression of the relationship. It is our job to look at that thing and say, okay, how can we move it out of the way so that we can go back to be one?
Yeah.
You know, and unfortunately, a lot of us, you know, we treat our relationship as though our spouse is the enemy.
Right.
You know, and we fight on a daily basis
Yeah.
because the enemy is within and
Right.
not without.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Right. And
And
I'm sorry, I was just gonna say, sometimes too, is when people are brought up, how your parents acted is how you just assume your relationship's gonna be.
Mhm.
And it's just not like that. So you have to create a new thing.
Oh
And,
my gosh.
and
Yes.
both people have to be willing to do that. Because if one person still holds on to how their upbringing was,
Mhm.
and the other person has
Right.
to keep giving, then it's not gonna work either. So
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
have to somehow come up
You know,
with that.
my wife and I touched on something a little bit that, you know, we're in a blended family, you know, and I'm of a military background, you know, and I'm from Jamaica, so you know, I'm a very rigid, stern,
Right.
you know, type of person, black and white, and everything is just black and white. And I came in my blend, you know, with that type of rigidness and all that stuff. But then I realized quickly, real quick, that was not going to work, you know,
Right.
and so I quickly had to unlearn some stuff and learn some new things that will work for my
Oh,
family,
yes.
you know. So regardless of the fact that, you know, I am 30 something and you know, got married and all that stuff, and you know, and it's very much set and seasoned in my way. I had to root some stuff out
Right.
and
And-
throw those things away and plant new things.
It was smart of you, and you were willing to do that, and that's the seed of a successful marriage, I think, is being willing to change the way you are or the way you see things.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Powerful. You know, I like the whole concept of, because we tell people all the time, the way that you respond today as an adult in your marriage has so much to do with what you observed growing up. You know,
Absolutely.
and if you're not conscious of that enough to say, you know what, this is how my parents did it, but it's not necessarily how I want to do it.
Right.
We can just fall into that pattern, and then we teach it to our kids, and they teach it to their kids. But when you recognize that, you know what, there's a different way. There's a better way for me and my family.
In this time period.
Right.
Because you got to remember what worked in 1950
Come on.
is not working now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Certain things, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there are certain things that we do have to do differently, and certain things we got to keep because
Right.
it
Right.
did work.
Right.
Exactly.
You know,
Right.
it did
Right.
work. We don't want
And
to throw those things
That's
away.
the truth. That's the vein of truth that goes right through all
Yeah,
relationships.
Yeah.
the fundamentals you just have to keep, you know, regardless. But then you need to learn to adjust your sail as, you know, we get into different era
Right.
of
Yeah,
a relationship.
Awesome. So tell people where they can find you, how they can contact you, if they want to get some of your
Goodies and
treats.
classes.
Yes.
Okay, well, we're right on Main Street. 733 Main Street is Kitchen Chemistry, and we're an interactive bake shop because, again, we sell our product, but we also teach classes, and that's a lot of fun. And then the Pocono Soap is right up by Courthouse Square, which is 10 North 7th Street. And we're on Facebook, we have our websites and everything else, so we're pretty easy to find.
Very
Awesome.
nice. Very
Awesome.
nice. We appreciate you guys so much coming in and just sharing a little bit of your story with us and just inspiring. 35 years.
35
You just
years. That's a long
don't
time.
hear.
We both deserve a trophy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Listen, especially you for putting up with 13 women at work.
Yeah.
Because
I
it's
shake
not
my head
easy.
every day.
I'm at the typewriter, I'm just shaking my head and saying, oh my God.
It's definitely not easy working with a company full of women. So we applaud you. We applaud the partnership, recognizing that in love and business, it's a partnership.
Right.
Yes, it is.
Absolutely.
It's a partnership, and so we wish you guys all the best in the business. We'll continue to watch your business. If you have any special sales that you want us to advertise for you, please let us know. We'll be more than happy to do that for you.
Yeah.
And we have a couples club that meets once a month. I think I had mentioned that to you. I think we would, like to contact you guys about doing a special bake class for couples and just coming and making some tasty treats. That's always fun.
Yes, definitely. Give me a holler.
Yeah.
I won't tell my our second child about your store though, because
she
she has a sweet tooth and she will live in your store.
Oh,
She'll
my
literally
gosh.
live in your store.
One of the things that we do on our show is every week we pick a date from this box. We call it out. It's an anniversary. If any of our listeners got married or started dating on that day, they win a prize.
Oh, okay.
We didn't get a chance to do it last week, so we're gonna have
Two.
We're gonna have you give this to them, and
Pick
each
out
of you
another?
will pick a date.
Okay.
Thank you very much. And just read the
Pick one
date
number.
out loud. Dum, 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 dum. Drum roll.
Whoops. Oh, that one popped right out. That one said, I'm going. He doesn't have his glasses.
Oh.
All right, so mine is April 12th.
Okay, April
April
12th.
And Erwin's is May 17th.
Okay,
Okay,
April
April
12th
12th
and May 17th, if that is your wedding anniversary or your dating anniversary or the date that you exchanged the first kiss, either type into the Facebook Live or inbox us, let us know that is your date, and we have a special gift for you. Your name will also be entered into a drawing for a grand prize at the end of the year.
Yep.
So we have come to the end. I'm telling you, these 2 hours go by so fast. So fast. But we've come to the end of the 2 hours, and we always end with our Bible text for the month. This is the last Tuesday. No, we have one more Tuesday in February. One more.
Do we?
Yeah.
What's today's date?
Today's the 20th. We have the 27th.
28. Is this 28 days?
28 days.
Okay.
So next week is the 27th. Our Bible text for the month of February is 1 Corinthians 13, verses 4 through 8. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. We don't just want you.
Here's what is so crazy. I just want you to know, that's a beautiful scripture my wife just finished reading. And so you need to ask yourself this question if you're involved in a relationship. If you're doing the opposite of this, is it really love?
Yeah.
Again, let me ask you, if you're doing the opposite of what God's word says, is it really love? And so, these are some of the things that we need to use as measuring tool, to make our love relationship better than it is.
And we don't just want you to hear the scripture or to memorize it. We want you to live it out. How are you going to live out that passage of scripture in your home this week?
Beautiful, beautiful,
Yes,
beautiful.
yes,
Listen, we have come to the end of another segment of Meet the Smiths. And as we have always said, the Army is asking for...
The Army wants you to be
what is it?
Army strong.
No, the Army is asking you to be Army strong. Nevertheless, the Smiths are asking you to be relationship strong. Good
Thank
night,
you for
everyone.
joining us. Good night.
Thank you.